Hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. Continuing my love for winter landscapes, I wanted to bring to you another fun video for today. In this video, we are going to paint a winter landscape, but we are going to add these beautiful northern lights. So, if you want to paint along with me, then do gather all the supplies that I will be listing further in the video, and let's get started. For today's painting, I'm using this 100% cotton 300 GSM paper by Archie's. Make sure that you're using 100% cotton paper for best results. I'm using White Night watercolor full pans in the shade Emerald Green. If you don't have Emerald Green, you can use Hooker's Green or Viridian as well. I'm using Indanthrene blue and Prussian blue and Payne's grey. So you can use a combination of any blues and Payne's grey and Viridian, Hooker's green or Emerald green, whatever you have available with you. And I'm using watercolor brushes of different sizes, so make sure you have one large brush and one small brush. So 4, 8 and 12 is what I'm using. And I'm using white gouache. If you don't have white gouache, you can use white watercolor paints from your tube directly, and masking fluid and an old brush to apply the masking fluid, and 2 jars of water, very basic, one for cleaning out our brush and one for clean supply of water. My first step is to tape down the paper on all 4 sides on this wooden board that I can move around. So make sure that you're taping down your paper on a surface that you can move around as well. And the next thing that we're going to do is to make a rough pencil sketch. So we're just going to sketch a pine tree that has snow fallen on it. And this pine tree is something very similar to my other winter landscape videos that we have done, and the pine trees that we have sketched there. It's very similar to that. So if you haven't watched my other winter landscape videos, you can click on the eye icon at the top right corner now, and you can watch my other landscape videos where I have explained how I sketched the pine trees with snow fallen on it. And if you don't want to watch that, it's completely fine. You can just follow along to what I'm doing right now. Basically, the structure that you can see me sketch right now is actually the snow, which I will be masking with a masking fluid. If you don't have a masking fluid, don't worry, you can sketch it as it is, and you can go and paint the snow with a white gouache as well. But that is totally up to you. I like using masking fluid for the snow part. So using my masking fluid, I'm going to go over the structure of the snow that I've painted, and I'm going to cover it with masking fluid and wait for it to completely dry before I move ahead to painting the sky. Once my masking fluid has completely dried, using a larger size brush, we're going to apply the sky part of our painting with water. Why we're doing that is because we will be doing the wet on wet techniques for creating the northern lights, and we need to make sure that our sky is completely wet for our paints to just move around and do their thing. So starting off with for the northern lights, I'm using emerald green. So I'm using a lighter value of the emerald green, and don't worry about the different values. Just start with the lightest value of a color, and then we can build the vibrancy later on. This just gives us a nice idea of what color goes where, and then we can just work on building up the vibrancy. So using Indanthrene blue, I'm going to cover the white part of the sky on the sides of the northern lights with that color, as you can see that I'm doing here, just to give my sky the final look, like what it should look like, and then we can build up the vibrancy. So as you can see, I've layered it with the lightest value of the 2 colors, and then I'm going to build the vibrancy of my northern lights in between with emerald green. So I'm using a darker value of the color, and I'm going to make the blue really nice and dark, because we're going to be seeing the northern lights at night, right? So because of that, I will be adding darker values of the blues, and at the corners I will be adding Payne's grey as well. So using just these 4 colors, we will be working on the northern lights. once my paper rests on a wooden board, I can lift it and move around for, the wet on wet technique to do its magic, and the blending happens, on its own because the water merges the two colors together. We just have to apply, our colors and build the vibrancy. So that is my main focus here. And the blending part of the two colors, they just blend seamlessly because of the wet on wet technique, as you can see. One of the major reasons why I like using masking fluid for, painting my snow on the tree is because, I can go on with layers and layers of watercolors and it goes completely undisturbed. And once the watercolor or the layer below dries, I can erase it off and add contrast to my snow. But if you don't have masking fluid, don't worry, you can still paint this along with me. All you have to do then is that you'll have to sketch the tree out exactly as I have, and then paint your pine tree and add the snow using your white gouache. So that is the only different step that you'll have to do from the one that I am doing. So once the sky is completely dry, as you can see, I'm going to move ahead and add the stars. So using white gouache, I'm going to make a nice mixture so that it's not so loose but not too creamy and thick as well. And I'm going to tap it against another brush to create the stars. So make sure that you're creating these stars at the darker part of the sky, that is the blue, and not on the northern lights, because it's really bright in real, so you cannot see the stars through them, but you can see the stars around them. So I've tapped it around, next to the northern lights, as you can see that I'm doing. So yeah, keep adding stars until you're totally satisfied. While the stars are drying, let's move ahead and paint the ground. So for painting the ground, actually we're not going to do a lot of things because it's pretty basic. We just have to add the contrast to the snow. So you remember the blue that I used earlier? I'm using the same blue but the lightest tone of it. So I've added lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of water to it, and I'm adding a little bit of Payne's grey to the mixture to add the darker areas of the snow. So that is going to be right below my tree because it is blocking the light from the northern lights, and because of which it's going to show the darker parts of the snow. So I'm going to add it right below the tree and just around it, just to add some different shades to my snow. Once the ground has completely dried, we are going to move ahead and paint the pine tree. So for painting the pine tree, again, it's the same process as I showed you before in my previous landscape videos. So we are going to be painting the branch of the trees from below the snow that has fallen, as you can see, and just move ahead and add some tiny branches around it as well, just to show some little branches that don't have snow on it as well. And yeah, move around and finish the whole pine tree. I didn't want my pine tree just to be the lonely plant element on the ground. So because of which I've added this little branch or grass, whatever you want to call it, right next to it so that it has more friends to, chill under the other lights with. So yeah, and once your pine tree has completely dried, so if you're using masking fluid to erase the masking fluid, make sure that the tree portion has completely dried. So for painting the snow, as you can see first, see how white it is. It just, I can leave it as it is, but I'm not going to do that because that would not look so good in comparison to the ground, which has, different contrast to the snow. So we're going to be adding contrast to our snow on the tree as well. So for that, I'm going to first apply water to do the wet on wet technique, and I'm going to take Payne's gray and apply it at the bottom part of the snow. As you can see, the from kind of like from where the branches painted the branches, so at that portion I'm going to apply Payne's gray. So why I'm doing it on wet technique is because the paints, obviously, they just blend seamlessly and your paints don't look so sharp and it just altogether looks good. So just keep applying water and adding contrast to your snow. Make sure that you're not forgetting to leave some white spaces as well, because obviously it will be reflecting some light and we'll have some whiter portions to the snow as well. So the darker portion will be at the bottom. So don't cover the snow entirely with gray. Do leave some white spots in between as well. I wanted to add some snow on the grass or the branches that I painted as well. So using white gouache, I'm going to add a very thin layer of snow on it as well. And then I'm going to add splatters, which is the last part of our painting. So load your brush with some Payne's gray and just splatter it on the ground wherever you like. And that is it. We have completed our painting. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Do let me know what you think about this in the comments below. And if you recreate this, don't forget to share it with me on Instagram at The Simply Aesthetic. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel for more art videos. And do share this with your friends if you think they'll love it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.